Have you ever woken up one morning and felt an unfamiliar emptiness, as if a part of you had been quietly slipping away while you weren't looking? You glance back at the long arc of years spent giving, sacrificing, holding everything together for people you love, and now in the soft light of a new day, a single question lingers. After all I've given, what is left for me? Life is fleeting, like river mist that vanishes at the first touch of sun. For decades you poured yourself into family, partners, careers, building, nurturing, supporting, always placing yourself second. Yet as seasons shift, you may find yourself standing at a crossroads, wondering where all that energy went and, more importantly, who is giving any of it back. Buddhism reminds us that attachment to expectations is the root of suffering. We assume love and loyalty will be returned in kind, but the world does not pause to reciprocate. Younger generations are busy carving their own paths, wrapped in their own struggles. If you spend your later years chasing their validation, trying to keep a place in their ever-moving world, you will only grow exhausted, disheartened, and perhaps even resentful. The answer is not to grasp harder. The answer is to choose yourself, not out of selfishness, but out of wisdom. Reclaim the energy you gave so freely. Turn inward. Nurture your own spirit and embrace peace and solitude. This is not an escape from life. It is a return to what truly matters. In the end, the greatest act of love you can offer the world is to first love yourself. The illusion of reciprocity. We invest in others with unwavering faith. Every kindness, every sacrifice offered like seeds we expect to bloom back into our laps. Yet time reveals a sobering truth. Our efforts, however sincere, are not always mirrored back. Relationships unravel, people change, circumstances dissolve. What once felt tightly braided can fray into distance and indifference. Picture an elderly man who once worked double shifts to give his children every opportunity. His love lived in unspoken gestures, late nights, early mornings, quiet sacrifices. He assumed that one day when he needed them, they would return the favor. But the phone rings less now. Family dinners have become rare, hurried check-ins. He sits by the window, watching the world move on, realizing that love given does not always return the way we hope. Or consider May, lifelong backbone of her family, caretaker of siblings, devoted wife, ever-present mother. When the house grew quiet and her adult children became consumed by their own lives, the calls became brief. "I'll visit soon, Mom." Soon never came. At first she felt heartbroken, then betrayed. Years of reflection finally offered a clear, hard gem of insight. Attachment to expectation is the root of suffering. She had loved without condition, and that alone was enough. Her peace arrived when she stopped measuring love by what came back. Kindness must flow like water, free, unforced. The moment we try to trap it inside walls of expectation, it stagnates, turning into resentment or sorrow. Give because it aligns with who you are. Care because it brings fulfillment now. When life shifts and people drift, meet the change with acceptance, not pain. Some souls will return, some will not. That is simply the way of things. Let your generosity be like sunlight, warm, open, expecting nothing in return. Reclaiming your energy age is not a time to chase acknowledgement. It is a time to reclaim what you once gave away so freely. Your energy, your peace, your self-respect. For years you may have poured yourself into roles and responsibilities, hoping the investment would circle back. Yet if you do not reclaim your own vitality, no one else will do it for you. This is not about shutting the door on the world. It is empowered self-prioritization, recognizing that your well-being is the foundation upon which everything else rests. Instead of scanning the horizon for approval, turn inward and ask, what brings me joy? What have I long neglected? What is still possible? Perhaps you once dreamed of learning to paint, to speak Italian, to walk the Camino. Maybe the wish is simpler. Tea on the porch at sunrise, an untouched stack of novels, the quiet rustle of leaves while you do absolutely nothing. These are not luxuries. They are lifelines back to your essence. Look at Mr. Huang, retired school teacher, who for 40 years gave every ounce of wisdom and patience to his students. He assumed they would circle back with gratitude, but life moved on. One day a friend handed him a violin, the instrument he had abandoned at 14. Too old, he protested, yet with nothing to lose he placed it under his chin. The first notes screeched. His fingers felt wooden. Weeks later, melody emerged, imperfect but alive. In that sound, he rediscovered a fulfillment that belonged entirely to him. Your energy is not limitless. Picture a candle burned to the wick after years of lighting others. If it never takes time to replenish its flame, what light remains? Replenish yourself through solitude, creative play, mindful movement. Let go of the need for external validation. The quiet joy you cultivate within becomes the glow that guides whatever, and whoever, truly belongs in your life. The power of silence. Silence is often mistaken for absence, of courage, of wit, of relevance. In youth we chatter to prove we exist, explain, defend, debate, repeat. Yet experience teaches that most people listen only to reply. Conversations become battlefields where words are weapons and no one wins. Buddha's teaching of right speech urges us to speak only when words improve upon silence, when they serve truth and kindness. Otherwise, stillness is the wiser path. Consider an elderly monk once famed for debate. A brash student barraged him with arguments, certain the old man's knowledge had fossilized. The monk listened, nodded, finally smiled. "Thank you for sharing your thoughts," and walked away. The student expected combat. He received a mirror. Years later he understood. Not every battle deserves your ammunition. In a world addicted to noise, notifications, opinions, outrage, silence is disciplined strength. It is the capacity to hear without forging a comeback, to witness without correcting, to let opinions pass like clouds. An old Zen saying warns, "Do not speak unless you can improve the silence." How many sentences spoken in pride or haste ever do? True influence often arrives on quiet feet. A mother, accused by her teenage daughter of being controlling, resists the reflex to defend. She listens, breathes, says only, "I hear you." In that spacious acknowledgement, the argument deflates. Connection becomes possible again. Silence is not retreat. It is sovereign choice. When the impulse to persuade, to justify, to shout your worth arises, pause and ask, will my words bring clarity or only more weather? If the answer is uncertain, choose stillness. The loudest voice rarely holds the most power. It is the one that speaks precisely, sparingly, and only when something true is at stake. Observing. Instead of interfering, the urge to correct others feels like compassion, yet it often masks impatience with their pace. We see a child dating the wrong partner, a friend repeating toxic patterns, a colleague heading for preventable failure, and we leap with advice clenched in both fists. Wisdom, however, is seldom welcomed when it arrives uninvited. People must trip over their own stones. Struggle is the chisel that sculpts insight. Buddha frequently met pleas to settle strangers' disputes with silence, not from indifference but from respect for karma's classroom. Pain is a patient teacher. When we short-circuit its lessons, we rob others of the very growth they need. A caterpillar must labor out of its cocoon. Aided too soon, its wings stay wet and useless. Anand watched his father gamble away the family savings. Lectures, tears, interventions failed. Exhausted, Anand finally let go. He worked, saved, built his own stability, refusing to let his father's choices dictate his inner weather. Only when the father hit bottom did he seek his son, not for cash but for understanding. The lesson had ripened in its own season. Detachment is not coldness. It is love without ledger. It trusts the universe to unfold and chooses to invest energy where authority truly lies, within oneself. Picture holding a bird, squeeze and you crush it. Open your palm and it may stay or fly, but either way it is free, and so are you. An old fisherman watched young men battle a dangerous current daily. He felt the urge to shout warnings, yet he knew some truth must be earned firsthand. He remained on the bank mending nets. In time the swimmers learned respect or skill. Had he nagged, they might have blamed him and never owned their decision. Not every storm is ours to calm. Focus on your breath, your values, your next right step. Change one heart, your own, and you have already altered the world in the only domain you truly command. Letting go of the need for approval, from playground praise to performance reviews. We are groomed to seek external thumbs up. Approval feels like safety, so we tailor clothes, opinions, even life partners to fit an imagined audience. Yet the applause fades, the reviews change, and we are left hauling a sack of other people's expectations up an endless hill. Ask Lila, who spent 60 years as the perfect daughter, wife, mother. When the house emptied, she stared at her reflection and realized she had no idea who lived behind the accommodating smile. The approval she chased had been a moving target. The finish line simply advanced with every concession. The Buddha taught that lasting happiness arises not from being understood by others, but from understanding oneself. Imagine setting the heavy sack down. The relief, the sudden lightness, the discovery that the journey eases when you stop auditioning for it. Armin climbed every rung society deemed worthy, wealth, title, corner office, yet each achievement felt hollow. Only after walking away to a small village, trading spreadsheets for soil beneath his fingernails, did he taste freedom. When a former colleague asked if he missed the prestige, he smiled. "I have nothing to prove, and that is my greatest achievement. Approval is weather. Fickle, shifting, outside your control. Self-acceptance is climate, steady, internal, available in any season. Monks retreat into silence. Sages dwell on mountaintops unconcerned with applause because they have located a source of worth that needs no audience. Letting go does not mean aloofness. It means relocating your compass. Ask, do I like who I am? Do my choices align with my values? Choose authenticity over acceptance, peace over performance. Practice saying, first in whispers, later in full voice, I am enough as I am. Some will agree, some won't. Both outcomes are perfectly acceptable. Travel lighter. The only approval that can steady your stride is the one you grant yourself. Conclusion. Choosing yourself personal well-being is not indulgence. It is maintenance as essential as breath to a life that still has chapters unwritten. You have spent years, perhaps decades, being the solution to everyone else's equation. Now the calling is to return to yourself, to sit in the quiet auditorium of your own heart and listen. You owe no one an apology for choosing peace. You need no permit to prioritize joy. Happiness is not bestowed by committee. It is claimed by daily, sometimes hourly, deliberate acts. A walk at dawn, a boundary gently held, a violin picked up after 50 silent years. Picture your energy as a reservoir. If pipelines run only outward, the level drops, the banks crack, the water grows muddy. Redirect a channel inward. Refill through solitude, creativity, rest, wonder. A full reservoir nourishes every garden it touches. An empty one echoes only wind. The river of life moves forward, and so must you. Not chasing validation like a thirsty mirage, but gliding with the ease of someone who knows peace is cultivated within. Step into your next chapter with grace, with purpose, with unwavering self-respect. Take a deep breath. Feel the weight lift. This story has always been yours to write. Hold the pen firmly. Ink the pages with your own desires, and should you ever forget your worth, place a hand on your heart. And remember, you are enough. You always were. You always will be. Thank you for walking this path today. Take gentle care of yourself, because you are worth every measure of that care.